Okay, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Designers. In today's episode, we are going to talk to Birdie. And Birdie,
Hello.
we'll talk to Birdie, Oliver Birdie. And we're going to talk later in a bit about how his company, Curiosity Design Research, has adapted to the pandemic. How design research has changed during the pandemic. We'll talk about that today. Welcome back, Birdie. How have you
Hello.
been?
Hello. I'm good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year! It's been a new year. New Hopefully this year will be better compared to last year. But
Yeah.
we'll talk more about that. So Birdie, I've interviewed you before, but for the benefit of people who are just meeting you for the first time, can you tell us about yourself?
Hello everyone. I'm Birdie Salva. I'm the general manager and co-founder of Curiosity. We're a design research agency, and what we do is that we help organizations gain local insight into people's behaviors and how they use things. So all of the data that we provide helps companies from multinationals, local conglomerates, and even government to design better products and services.
Nice one, Birdie. Thank you. So Birdie, tell us more about that. What is your origin story? How did you get into this field, curiosity design research? How did you start this company?
So, sobrang tagal na, like back in 2002 pa lang, 2002 pa lang, as a second year college student, I got the opportunity to visit Stanford University. So when I got there for like a week-long exchange program thing, they brought us to IDEO. So I got to visit IDEO
Wow.
way back then in 2002. Now, like wala all the literature about design thinking, human centered design, wala pa yun
Wow.
lahat. So I got to visit. I saw the shopping cart, the ever
Wow.
shopping cart. So doon pa lang na-in-love na ako. Like, parang, what is this thing? And it's such an amazing thing. So um, from then pa lang, I've been interested in it. I've been reading up on it. I kept tabs. Syempre, wala pa masyadong internet, Facebook and etc. back then. But I kept tabs on it. I kept wanting to do something like that. After graduation, I got
Sa IDEO mismo, ah.
idea
IDEO.
mismo. Oh,
Oh.
may pictures on. So, but
Nice one.
and so after the uh, after graduation, no, so got into a typical career path, multinational muna, went into L'Oreal. But in my 5 years in L'Oreal, I still, this that burning desire to still apply that design thinking and stuff. So I wanted to apply that. So when I finally decided to take the plunge into entrepreneurship, I left L'Oreal. I joined a startup company that was Innovent. So it was industrial design. They wanted to make like a first Philippine internet TV. I joined that
Mm.
one, and that's where okay, sabi ko parang this is the moment na I'm gonna apply design na. Wasn't that easy though, kasi so daming learnings, daming failures, and after 2 years in Innovent, we closed that down. But the
Mm.
learnings from Innovent led me to have this, to have this aha moment na back then, say, parang people here might not be willing to pay for the design, but they were willing to pay for the idea of what they should design. So I thought, well, I'm not a designer. I'm not an industrial designer, nor graphics, nor anything. So I thought, but what if I focus on the research part? That was a design thinking framework, the empathy, ideate, empathy, define, ideate, phase. What if I focus on that one? Luckily, I found my partner, so I was introduced to Pamela Kahilig. So my partner,
Mhm.
and along with Diego Maranan later on, and then see Christine Leawan. So the four of us together formed Curiosity, and yeah. So now I think we're approaching our ninth year now.
Curiosity. So tell us a bit more about curiosity.
So Curiosity, as a design research agency, we basically ultimately, we just want to ensure that people's voices are heard. So whenever new products or new services, new policies or programs are made for people, we want to make sure that their voices are heard, they are empowered, and the things that are created, things that are created for them are very relevant for them. So we mainly apply three lenses: so anthropology, design, and business. So using all the toolkits, all the frameworks, whenever we're doing our data gathering, the findings that we have basically helps challenge the assumptions of our clients. Whenever our clients would say, na parang, I think this is better for the people because of blank, or I think this will make us more successful because of blank. We use all of those data to be able to make sure that they are grounded, and whenever they're designing their touch points, apps, websites, products, forms, training programs, whatever it is, at least they know na um, grounded ito into the real experience of the people. So the one thing that we always say is that we want to make sure that we provide local insight.
Okay. So what's your role now? Tell us about what's your superpower. If you were a superhero, what are you really good at, or what are you really skilled at, and how you are applying that in Curiosity?
I think actually I for the past 2 years now, so starting 2018, I actually took a back step now from research. So I'm less na of me actually going to conduct the interviews, the observations, the field work. So I'm now more focused on managing, growing the business. So I'm the one who approaches the clients. I'm the one who talks to them, tries to understand their needs, their concerns, and collectively, because sa Curiosity, I think we've done more than 170 projects in the past 8 years.
Wow,
So
170.
yeah, so now it becomes easier na parang whenever I talk to a client and I can recognize, parang, oh yeah, we've done something like that before. Then I can bring up that story. So I can bring up that story like, here was the problem, quite similar to yours. Here's how we approach it, and we think it might, parang it'll be helpful for you too. So please tell us more about your current context. So as we discuss, as we learn, then I'm just simply trying to apply all of the things that we've done in the past to be able to mix and match together and see na this is the right approach for you. Then hopefully they're open to it.
Okay, so nice. How has Curiosity basically adapted during last year's crazy year of pandemic, and how have you been? Have you been doing research? How are you doing research now?
I guess I would say na super fortunate talaga na we have the tools today. So luckily talaga we have like things like Zoom, we have fast internet, we have Viber with screen sharing. So we have Google Drive, we have all of the smart tools na available. Plus, it's actually quite interesting na a lot of the people, especially for the lower income segment, they're digitally literate enough to use Zoom. So
Really?
if you want to do a FGD with the lower income segment, they can. They know how to use the Zoom. So if not Zoom, then Viber with screen sharing. Then you can share your photos,
That's
share your.
interesting. Talaga.
So that was lucky because initially we were really initially syempre, like we were really concerned. How do you do the face to face? I mean, kung one-on-one interviews with, let's say, someone more middle class and above with fast internet, digitally literate, no problem. But majority of our research is really done with those who are not so fortunate. So we so number one, we're lucky with the tools, and uh, one thing kasi that we really make sure sa companies that parang number one policy namin, okay, keep the researchers safe, keep the respondents safe. So even if our client said na at the start of the pandemic, like around May or June, gusto pa rin namin face-to-face interview, are you willing to do that? And we really said no, as in we don't want to risk anyone, both kami and the respondents. So then we have to be creative. Okay, what are all the tools that we have? What are the different ways? And luckily, as we were experimenting things, carry naman. So you can use Instagram, Messenger, Viber, Zoom, Google Meet. There's so many tools depending on kung ano yung sanay yung respondent that you want. And then just use those things.
What is the most common so far and the most effective for you?
Zoom.
Zoom talaga.
Zoom very stable. Because
People use Zoom.
even though Viber can do the same thing, Viber minsan nagka-crash, minsan na-disconnect yung tao, na-drop sila. Zoom has been very stable.
Really. So when you're doing, so how is it? How's that like? Is it still the same? Aren't you missing out on something when you're doing the interviews online na? And
So I'll start with ano yung mga things that you can do before you do your research. So there's now additional pre-work that you have to do. For example, let's say when you're recruiting and screening a participant, you have to do like some extra steps na parang sa recruitment pa lang, pag pumasala sila at qualify sila sa criteria that you set, mag-tech check ka na. Kasi like, Nay or Tay, parang try natin log on sa Zoom. So may account po ba kayo? Or something. Tapos if they can log on, then we check na po saan kayo pupwesto. Para makita namin madilim ba to or maingay ba. Kaya ba mag-mute? All of those things, we do those tech checks during the recruitment stage pa lang. Because sometimes when we do our studies, kasama yung client, the client is watching. So what we want to prevent is yung, can you hear me? Narinig pa ba ako? Blah, 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 all of those things. So pagdating sa research na, dire-direct na.
So you're
Sorry.
doing a lot of technical at the onset, no? So doesn't that mean that's going to be longer when you're setting out your recruitment instead of 1 hour, you allocate 5-10 more minutes
Yeah.
just for the
Uh,
tech check.
yes. As in, again, before the research. So pagka at least, example, kung na-recruit kayo today and then, your schedule is 2 days later, at least dire-diretso na. If they are a bit on the older side, we do request na have someone younger, right beside you.
Mm.
Para lang just in case na may mangyari. And it has happened. I mean, you can't prevent it. Minsan, like, biglang hala naputol. So sabi na, please wait lang, and reconnect maybe like 10 minutes later or something.
So sige, so what you're saying is you're doing a lot more work pre-work, no? Just to get to do the interviews now, to set it up. What else are you doing now that's different aside from doing that?
The It's more like how do you change the FGD experience?
Mhm.
So that is the FGDs. You usually get like a venue, and then you have your clients watching through the other side of the wall. So we had to be able to replicate that. And what we did is basically to live stream. So we would create like
Mm.
private links. So
Mhm.
you do your FGDs. The participants are informed na someone is watching, but we do promise them rin na anonymity na like para this will not be, we change their names. So once they log on, like, we change their names para hindi yung full name or anything like that. And then we do erase the videos afterwards. But during the live stream, we create private links so that our clients can watch. And then while they're watching, we have a Viber chat thread, so any follow up questions can be fed into the folks group. So that's another
That's
thing.
interesting, ah. That's interesting. So you're doing the stream. It's a private link, and then of course the interviewees know that they're seeing, but you just basically just also manage their expectation and their by telling them that people are going to be there listening also.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. So aside from that, are there anything else that you're trying, or any other stories that are interesting for you to share that has changed within your work?
Using social media. So, like,
Mm.
sorry, not social media. Let's say messaging platforms. So one thing that say you lose is like yung ethnographic partner where you're there with them, feeling, experiencing the space around with them. So that's where sometimes you have to be creative na parang, for example, like parang send photos, send videos while they're sending. You can chat with them. The chatting
Mhm.
is basically data gathering na rin. You're trying to see the response, lalo kung may mga emojis pa and stuff. Um, and yeah, and then you're documenting it. Yun na rin yun eh. So instead of us being there to take photos, you give them clear instructions of what you want them to take photos or take videos and narrate while they're doing those things.
Okay.
So you can do those things again, but you do lose on certain aspects. So example, you lose on things like smell. Lalo kung like you're doing research on food, you can't smell it.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
those
yeah.
and we've done some food research in during the pandemic. So our client would send us a sample then para like sabay tayo kumain.
Really, that's
Sabay tayo kumain.
interesting. Ah.
So like, kamusta? Matabang ba? Parang maasim or whatever. Yeah, sabay tayo. And then kwentuhan lang.
That's nice. That's nice. Sige, you also the that has also an impact on your work style, right? Before you would probably be meeting regularly in person, but now how has the team entirely also changed your
It that,
workflow?
that didn't change too much. Kasi even before the pandemic, no, we were really mainly home based. We have an
Mhm.
office. We meet there like for big meetings and alignments, but everyone generally works remotely then, become a
Mm,
desk
okay.
based. So as long as you have your laptop and internet, go na. So yeah, right now, so we have typical like Zoom gatherings just to continue to build company culture. When April, yung sa lockdown ng March last year, we spent April and May to really just focus on internal training. Kasi walang clients eh. All the clients said na postpone muna, hold muna.
Mhm,
So we just spent April and May just simply puro internal training. So what we
mhm,
did was every single researcher sa team would share their own experiences with their own projects. So for example, si Kim would share, Etiman, this is what I learned from this project. I would share, well, this is what I learned with my projects. And yung kasing knowledge sharing and stuff.
That's interesting. That's interesting. The way you are not really surprised. You're not really shocked. Your change in terms of the team itself because you are already working from home. You're already doing a lot of remote work and just communicating online. So you were ready when it happened. It's just
Yeah.
when the interviewing come and the field research, yun lang yung naiba talaga.
Yeah. The fear talaga was ano, parang would clients still be innovating and creating new things during the pandemic? So syempre yung takot na which budget gets cut.
Oh
Luckily,
yeah.
which budget gets cut? Like so syempre parang but luckily like starting ng June to July, things started to pick up and then pagdating na October, bam, it was planning season and everyone needed to plan for 2021. So we were ano, we were
Actually, wouldn't that be more opportunity as well? Because I think a lot of companies would now want to research how do we do things in the new normal right now? How will people change, right? So you need more
so
budget for research.
if you're an FMCG, so the question was para is my product still relevant for next year?
Yeah.
So example, let's say ito yung product claim, but given social distancing, people don't meet na yung mga dating all our campaigns, all of our messaging where it was all about feeling good when you're with other people or looking great when you're with other people. If this doesn't count anymore, then what does it mean for next year? The other
Yes.
one would be touch points. So kung touch points ka, like, service provider ka, no, improve our website, improve our this. Dati, option lang na maging paperless. Hindi, ngayon talaga, it needs to be paperless. How do we make sure that people become paperless? Kasi kailangan eh.
Yeah, so I think yun nga, there are a lot from what I see nga, there'll be more opportunities for design research because it's a new thing. It's a new thing that they want to adapt to, no? Interesting. I can relate because coming from my research, then my team then also going into digital transformation. We're also doing a lot more research because it's a new world. It's a new
Yeah.
norm.
Yes, that's
Now
right.
you have face mask and face shields na ang default, and I don't think that will end in the next few months anytime soon.
Interesting thing though, like you sometimes you talk to certain people, again, anecdotal lang to, but I have seen people, and even my wife, Arlene, would say this when, kahit na wala ng pandemic, I actually like my mask. It keeps me,
I
parang,
agree.
I got less, she would say na I got less colds, less, coughs, parang, and minsan like that, like, you go to Mega Mall and then, you're walking around, then everyone's just coughing and sneezing. So
Yes.
it always be feel worried. Now, parang like, kahit na wala ng pandemic, parang, I'd probably keep the mask on. And I think we have lost Ali. And okay, there you
No,
go.
no, yeah. I think my connection is a bit iffy today. That's the of live streaming. That's the fun part of doing live stream. Yeah, sige, so anything else that you'd like to for tips for maybe I guess if people who are doing design research now, what would be your main tips? What are your tools of the trade that you can recommend to people?
Sure.
Or yeah,
Well, yung mga typical research, like, you have yung mga Miro board and all those things. So I won't go into that now. But I think what I really want to stress rin talaga is that the design alone really won't make enough of an impact. I think it's time for designers then to upgrade their toolkits, go into thinking about systems, into policies, because I
yes.
think
So
once all of your design, like, example, your aesthetics, your usability, it goes up to a certain level lang. Na parang, yes, you can make the most usable app, but once you go a little bit higher pa, and we were talking about regulations, policies, incentives, collaboration with other stakeholders, politics, then dun mo na makita na parang ano yung, if ever may limitations yung tool mo. So I think that's where new skills should come in. If you as a design researcher wants to move up, become a consultant, and become a more strategic partner, then those are the things that you have to find out. Because not
yeah,
everything can just be solved about usability.
correct. And you mentioned design systems thinking, right?
Yeah.
So this is something that you're studying lately. So tell me more about systems thinking.
Systems thinking would basically says that everything, every factor, every variable affects each other. So one variable a change in one variable influences the whole system. So and what you want to, whenever you have a problem that's a bit more, you call it cloud problems. Cloud problems are those that it's not easy to solve. It's always moving. You can do something today, but if you do something to the system, you change a product, a tool, whatever small variable, the whole system adjusts and adapts to it. And whenever you find a problem, parang like, bakit, example, let's say traffic or so, bakit parang like, or no matter how much effort is placed into it, why is it na it's not getting solved? Because there's always many factors and variables that are, if ever, resisting or evolving or adapting to your actions or your input. If it's a, okay, I'll just go to the concept of clock and cloud problem. A clock problem is something that is solvable. A clock problem would be this machine is not working, or I just need to make it more efficient. I just need to make it cheaper, make it faster. You can fix it. Give it enough time and money, you can fix it. A cloud problem, hindi. Yun mga cloud problems that yun, again, waste, poverty, hunger, climate change. These are things that there's just so many things affecting it na fixing one small part is not enough. So those are the things that where skills like collaboration, communication, understanding policy, getting everyone to agree together, to move together as one at the same time, and usually very long-term pa yung mga solutions. And those are the things na ibang ano.
Yeah, and that's part of systems thinking, no? So that's thinking. And you mentioned a couple of system thinking tools, and it seems like ito yung isa sa what you're studying right now, no? Interesting.
I guess the Bible for system thinking is in Donatello Meadow.
Right, nice. Sige. I'd be interested to study rin ito, no? It's very interesting for me. All right. Thanks, Birdie. Any other tips for designers or design researchers that you'd like to, before we end our episode, tips for designers and design researchers?
I would say na it's a very interesting time. So, like, again, if you're curious about everything, this is the right moment to explore your curiosity, because everything is changing. Everything is changing. So, I mean, like, how people celebrate their birthdays, celebrate their even my weddings, all these norms have now changed. The question is like, parang sige, in 2020, people did that, like mga Zoom meetings, Zoom birthdays and stuff. But now, who knows kung kailan yung vaccine and stuff here. How will people accept it? And you can see how people are now starting to travel again, kasi kating-kati na to get out of the house and to get back to a certain sense of normalcy. So, there's so many things to discover and to explore, and it's gonna be very interesting to do to just pursue wherever your curiosity might be.
Yeah, it's actually, my guess is next there will be a parang babawi lahat ng tao. People will come back of if there's no more pandemic by December, I think there will be a lot of parties.
Yeah.
People are going to miss each other.
Or just to even give a hug. I mean,
yeah. All right. So we'll end today's stream with some of the books that you mentioned. What are you reading right now? I asked you what are you things that you're reading and looking at right now, and let's look at some of the things that you said you just got this book, which looks interesting. No, not the other one. This
on a professional side, apart from reading on any systems thinking materials that I can find, I'm also improving my own skill sets as in my role as a curiosity. So I'm reading like the Challenger sale, spin selling.
The other one is spin selling, right? Let me look for that. Spin selling. Okay.
Yeah. SPIN.
Spin selling. Yeah. You just got this one. Is it this one or this one? Neil Rackman.
I think it's I think it's the blue one.
This one.
Yeah, I think it's that one.
Yeah. So how is it naman? Okay ba tong Challenger sale? Is it a good?
I haven't started, so it's just really reading through it, like skim pa lang. Okay, what I spent the holiday reading ko was yung kay Barack Obama, yung The Promised Land.
The Promised Land. I actually also just got this. Why are you getting this?
You get a sense of hope. because Obama's very measured and like very calm and measured. So, and what was interesting about this book was that he kept talking about na very grounded na like, okay, here's all the doubts and fears and my actual lived experience when I was campaigning, when I ran first for Senate, when I ran next for president, and like you can see like even the uncertainty and away nila ni Michelle when things were very very stressful for them. He brings it talaga na this is like an everyday every man's problem. So if he can do it and if he can go through it, and
I
what is
know, I know.
yeah. And
I
when he
just
would talk
started eh.
about, when he talks about I think values that guided me whenever there's a very uncertain decision to make. But it gives me confidence in okay, um, tama naman pala na to just stick to your core values.
Yeah, actually, I when I started nga reading it, it's really interesting. Na oh, he wasn't that smart when he started in high school.
Yeah, diba?
Oh, he's just an ordinary guy. So it's nice to read about that. And then, just only in pagdating Harvard, dun siya nag-develop ng kanyang ano talaga,
Yeah.
grounding. So it's nice, nice. Well, that's it. Let's end there, Birdie. Birdie, thank you very much for
Thank you.
joining and sharing your experiences in today's episode. I hope a lot of people had learned from this episode. And for if they want to get in touch with Curiosity, say some other companies want to get in touch with Curiosity Research, how can they get in touch with Curiosity?
Sure. So they can visit us in our website, curiosity.ph, or they can reach out to me directly. So like either on Facebook or LinkedIn. Yeah, just feel free to reach out.
Okay. So thank you, Birdie. So thanks everyone for joining in today's stream. We try to do this every Saturday mornings at around 10:15. Join us in a future episode for previous episodes where Birdie was also in our previous episode. Designers.cam. Okay. Thank you and
Okay. Thank
bye
you.
bye. Bye
Bye.
bye. And